Welcome to TradersPost Blueprint episode on this Thursday, January 2nd, 2025. It's the first time I'm saying that, 2025.
Straight in the new year. I love it.
I'm Tom Hartman, marketing manager here at TradersPost, along with co-founder and CSO Mike Christensen. How's it going, Mike?
Doing well, Tom. Ready
I
to
thought-
dive into something super interesting today. Different departure from our typical TradingView stuff. I'll let you take the lead on it, of course, but I'm excited about our coverage today.
Yeah, I figured, look, this is all about AI. 2025 is the year of AI. This is what I'm told by all the marketing from all the other AI companies, so I believe
That's
it.
right. It's the buzzword of last year and this year and the next probably 3 years. Just like it's funny, AI to me is the sort of rebirth of a whole new industry in my mind. And it's very similar to the way it felt when the internet first came out and the news didn't even know how to explain it. They were like, there's a new trend emerging and it's called internet. And no one really knew what it was supposed to be for. But about 3 years later, every business on the planet realized, well, I guess I need a website, right? Like that's a thing.
So do you remember the crossover to when from Yahoo directories to Google? Do you remember that
Oh
switch
yeah,
where
for sure.
SEO was like, wait, what's SEO?
Yeah.
To me, that's what this feels like, which means to me that it really is a milestone. And I sort of feel similar in the retail trading space for when you had to do, I mean, I don't know this from anecdotally, when you had to do charting by hand. And I don't know if you've seen trading courses from the 70s, the 80s, early 90s, where some guy in a classroom and everyone's plotting it by hand. It's on the projector screen. And you have to sort of figure it out. And now when you have and so techniques like uh, Tom DeMark's signal or Bollinger Bands and all that. Where, oh my God, can you believe it? I have a Bollinger Band. I can tell what's going to happen in the market before you do. And TradingView sort of like democratized all that to for everybody else, not just TradingView, but everything like it.
Yeah, sure.
Well, now the AI stuff explodes it. Now what people are going to be expected to do, let's say simple things within AI, might be the new Bollinger Bands, the new RSI, the new candle count.
I think so. There's a lot of visual aspects to chart analysis that just are not captured by the data alone. It sometimes requires a little bit more of a sort of artistic view, if you will, maybe sort of an intuition for what the chart really is representing. Because moving averages and sums and statistical descriptions aren't as reliable as looking at the chart directly. You can decide which one of those candles matter more than the others better than any kind of moving average would. So I think that AI in the future, especially visually, if AI is responsible for visually interpreting charts for you, could be a really, really interesting opportunity. That's something I'm personally working on in a couple of side projects to see if I can actually get it to do what I do that you just can't capture programmatically sometimes.
That's right. Well, let's take a look here at what TrendSpider has to offer. I just want to preface this by saying that our interest here is understanding how we can connect this to TradersPost. We're not going to go through all the nitty-gritty details of what can be done within the platform, or diving into wholesale to educate you on the different types of AI models that can be used. Although we'll touch on it a little bit today. We really want you to get up and running because, as you can imagine, TrendSpider is doing starting to ramp up to walk people through the different types of features, and the documentation is there to help as well. So it's really about connecting the training bot. But along the way, I'm sure both Mike and I won't be able to resist talking about some of the nuances here. All right, so let me share my screen. Second. All right. So when you log into TrendSpider, you'll have a tab here. If you have I forget what pricing plan it's for TrendSpider. I don't think it's on all the plans. But you get the AI trading model tab here. Now, when you click on that, it opens up a new window, and on the left side, you'll be able to go through the setup steps, the 4 setup steps you need in order to move forward. So let's just take a look at a couple of these. So first of all, you're going to be determining the asset that you want to be analyzing. In this case, we'll do Coinbase, Bitcoin. We'll choose the 1 hour time frame, and let's do a date range of, let's say, 2018 to let's call it 2018 to 2020. Let's do 21. You can add different markets here to analyze. I haven't actually gone down the rabbit hole of um, exactly why you would add these other markets. I'm not sure if it's used as a correlation, if it's used as like an indicator for the main one. So we'll just use one for the moment. After that, and you can choose your time frame that you want to be trading on. Later on, once you have the strategy developed, you can test the strategy across different time frames. But let's just do 1 hour for now. After that, you get this sort of window here, and it tries to hold your hand a little bit here to tell you what it's considering. So here it's saying the AI model will aim to provide a signal when, at any time over the course of the next X number of candles, the price is likely to hit a take profit of a certain percentage, but not likely to hit your stop loss of a certain percentage at all. And the risk reward will be 3. So the idea here is that it's showing the date range that, it's showing the most current date range for that asset. So it's not actually choosing our date range that we chose before. It's just give us an idea. And it's trying to do a sort of like a quick check to see, hey, is there any chance that the risk reward that you're looking at can actually be achieved within this time, within any time frame? And that's what these yellow candles are showing us. So if we were to have this at, let's say, some unreasonable level, say, I don't know, 100% take profit, you'll see that we're not actually getting any signals that are possible here.
I like that this is still, based on real data at this point, because the one complaint I have about AI in general, especially with like tools like ChatGPT, is it'll figure out a way to agree with you regardless of what you do.
That's right.
And so, putting in 100% here, it might still go, oh yeah, that's still possible.
Well, from what I'm understanding here, they're mixing the language model with machine learning.
Yeah, right.
And so you get that sort of like reliability of the outcomes when the machine learning part comes into play, which is what we're getting here. All right, so then we move off to the next step, and here's where you're choosing between the different types of AI models that are possible. So you could choose random forest, k-nearest neighbors, naive Bayes, and logistic regression. Just as a quick, I don't know how familiar you are with these terms, Mike. So I'll just throw my hat in the
now
ring
you're
there.
making me realize that this is not at all what I thought this was going to be. See, like I got dropped into this without knowing how this tool works at all yet. So I didn't realize they were using machine learning models here, not necessarily AI. They've used the AI buzzword because that's really popular right now. But these are common methods for predicting targets in machine learning.
Right. The AI comes like the AI part comes a little bit later on, but it's not anything crazy significant.
It's not LLMs. It's not using an LLM in order to generate a list of rules that your strategy
It
should be
is.
based on.
It's
It is
doing
at the end?
that in the step 4. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so it's coupling like standard machine learning models that are well established along with some other LLM based models.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting.
Well, I don't know if the LLM based models are helping to determine what are the parameters that should be used, but it's still the machine learning models that are actually used to that's on the trading data.
Okay, got it.
So just a quick and dirty idea here, folks. You'll forgive me, Mike. You correct me if I'm wrong. Random forest. It's basically it's good for a large data set, and it's trying to get rid of any sort of bias within the training data, and then you get results that are that don't have that bias within the parameters that you're choosing. K-nearest neighbors, that is it's trying to determine buy and sell signals based on if there are other buy and sell signals recently within the vicinity. The naive Bayes is using it's a probabilistic formula or algorithm, and it's basically as it adds more data into it, as it adds more data, it then changes the way that it'll calculate in the future. So the idea is that the more results that you get, the more accurate it might become in the future. And then logistic regression, that's choosing between a buy and or on and off, a buy and sell. It's a binary choice. It's sort of like a linear regression, but it's trying to tell you based on the parameters that you provide in it, what's the likelihood of it being yes or no, as opposed to being able to give you specific detail like what is the price? What price should this be at X date? It's not doing that. What you would get in a linear regression, it's letting you know if you'll be able to succeed in your trade, yes or no, based on the data that it's collecting. That's generally what I understand.
I think that's pretty close. The first three typically give you back a probability score, or a confidence score, if you will, like a probability of something being true. And the logistic regression usually gives you true false.
So let's go with logistic regression. Once you do, no matter which model you choose, it has its default parameters, but you can click on fine tune in order to get more granular within it. Please do not ask me about anything here. I already know the random forest stuff, but that's because it sounds very metaphorical, and I get the idea of the parameters behind it. Oh, I guess K nearest neighbors is pretty self-explanatory as well, where the number of neighbors is how many results that are near the result that you're dealing with to consider. But other than that, it's all Chinese to me. After that, we're choosing the model. So here is where the LLM is trying to suggest what input parameters you want to deal with. So if we were to do this manually, I can say something like, hey, I want to use an indicator. I want to use RSI. I might want to use, an EMA, and I could set specifically what I'm looking for, what I want the model to be trained on. The AI part of it is if I choose get AI suggestions, I could say something like use when EMA 20 is crossing EMA 50, let's say. If I do get AI suggestions, it'll then try to come up with a series of inputs here that should be considered within the training set. So here it chose, first one over here, we have our EMA 20 that shows up. We have our, wait, this is not big enough. Let's see here. Oh, I can't make it any bigger, too bad. Right, so this is our EMA 20. This is our EMA 50. And you'll notice here that after that, we have these other inputs that are actually giving us some formula. Actually, this one over here is giving us RSI and average true range. I find here that the inputs that it gives us is very unreliable. Like if we were to run this again, even with the same query, it'll get a different result, classic LLM format. And so I start getting rid of things that I don't think are useful. Let's get rid of these guys.
Well, you're less likely to get you're not going to get a hallucination out of machine learning models. It's all statistical at that point. It's unless the data changes. If the inputs change, then yes, your outputs can change. But if you're training on exactly the same data each time, you should get the same output.
That's right. It just here when it's I'm using the LLM for it to try to decide which inputs I should be taking into consideration, okay. Different formulas. That's where you run it again, you'll get 15 new ones. So just showing that here. What's interesting here is that, and took a little bit of me wrapping my head around a bit, each one of these inputs are labeled with a letter. So this says input A, input B, D, and E, and so on. And then, so the normal indicators can't actually be used for training. Exactly what that means, I'm not entirely sure, but you can actually check this box. You check these boxes on the formulas, and what you're saying is that you're using these indicators and letting you know what condition you're dealing with. So, for example, if I wish to use this one, my 20 EMA is the A, and my 50 EMA is the B. So I could say if A is above B, then that would be one of the conditions to choose. I could choose another one.
So this gives you the opportunity to create custom training inputs or parameters that should contribute to the output, right? That can be used in order to predict the output.
That's right. So here I'm going to use an example of if on the first one here, I said if the faster moving average is above the slower one, and here I'm going to say, and I want that previously on the bar before that the faster moving average was below or equal to the slower moving average. And then we could start the trading model. So once you do this, it starts to process it. I already know this could be a bad result. I've done this before. So as it's processing it, it'll then give you a result that's going to show you the model inputs. So the inputs we were just dealing with, sorted by importance. So it's going to say, hey, the whether the EMA was below the fast EMA was below the slow one, that had it's 100% importance. Whether the EMA was above the fast EMA was above the slow one, that had a 96% importance. So that would indicate to me, hey, there was something to look at over here. But and this is something that's it takes a bit of wrapping your head around. The model, the entries and exits that you're getting are not like what you would necessarily get when you are plotting it manually. So over here right now we're getting this red box here because none of the results were positively statistically significant. So it's saying, hey, it's not even giving me the option here to use this model for anything. It's saying you gotta go and build upon it, go back and modify it in order to get something that makes more that generates better results. Like what we're seeing over here on the right. So on the right over here, we see that this test that I did for something else did generate some potentially positive results. And if I actually let's see if we could just modify this, because I'd love for you to see what that looks like. Let's say we change this from the hourly to the daily, and we just broaden the inputs a bit here. Let's see if that gives us anything to go on.
Tom, do you know if there's a way to create custom indicators on TrendSpider?
Yes, I believe so.
Do you just get the ones that come out of the box?
I've never done it myself. I believe you can do it in JavaScript, if I'm not mistaken. I just don't know if those are available here, because when I try to add VWAP, I could only use one that was I guess maybe published on TrendSpider. I couldn't actually get anything else in here. But I don't know in detail at all.
Got it. Okay.
So let's see if we can get a better result here. Let's do this AI suggestion again. All right, bad results. So I've often gotten bad results, as you've seen through the system. But let's take a look at this example here for good result. If you had green results, what will happen is that you'll have a button here that says deploy, that allow you to save the model, which I've already used here. And then once you head back into TrendSpider, if you click on Strategy Tester, you'll be able to choose the basically the model that you just chose. You can go into further detail here for testing. You can now, I believe the TrendSpider YouTube video, they recommend that now that you've trained it, now run it on a different time series, different time frames, whatever, to test it, to see what results you get. And then you can, so let's say we do it this way, apply. Then the idea is that you can sort of fine tune the details of the model. I haven't gone through all the details here, but you can fine tune the details of the model to see what works best, what time frames, blah blah blah. You have a variance explorer. You can there's a lot you can do. You have your performance data over here on the right that you're normally used to in TradingView, to let you know what's the max drawdown, what's the win rate, and that sort of thing. On the chart, I believe on the chart you'll see the entries and exits that it's actually plotting. But more important for us, we want to know, okay, how now do we then send a signal over? So on the right side over here, on the sidebar, you'll have an option that says bots. So you click on box. Let me go ahead and add a new column. And I'm going to create a new trading bot. And I'm going to make sure that I'm choosing, okay, I don't want any SMS sends, whatever. Where is it here? I want a webhook. So I choose my webhook over here. And then I make sure that I go to, wait 1 second. Head over to TradersPost. I'm going to go ahead and he already created a webhook for it. So I'm going to copy my webhook URL. And then head back over here. And under entry webhook, I put the webhook URL. For exit, I'll put the same one. My fields are already automatically populated with this, but I'm going to want, let's see here. 1 second. On the in TradersPost, the back end, on your webhook URL, you'll have a little bit more information as to the fields you can have here included in the TrendSpider documentation. But essentially, what's populated over here is what I can use. So I have one for buy, one for sell. I can change my quantity, that sort of thing. And then once this is saved, I don't want any notifications. Yeah, no notifications. Oh, I already have the spot saved here. That's why I saw it save. My bot will save over here now, and then once the condition were to fire again, it'll send a signal over to TradersPost. Now, from what I've seen, there's no way for me to manually trigger this trading bot to simulate what it might look like. For that, you'd actually have to go ahead and like create your own manual alert. Where is it? You have to create an alert here, and then literally choose like set a price. If it's closed greater than 0, whatever, in order to send a manual alert. But this whole process is different than the trading bot feature that's on TrendSpider. So you essentially have to wait for that to fire. I know in the documentation they do suggest, obviously, as we do before you trade with live money, that you want to make sure that the bot is not actually trading live capital. You want to make sure that it's following is fire when you're expected to fire. But what I thought was interesting here was that the entries and exits are they're determined by the model itself. So
Right.
you don't necessarily know, depending on how you've tuned it, you don't necessarily know when it'll actually fire. It might fire a little bit before or after, or miss completely the area that you're in. So it'll take more testing from us to see what that's like, and it'll be interesting to see what other people do. But that's essentially the process of how you walk through in order to get that set up.
That's great. Is there, I didn't see this in the beginning. Is this a long only strategy? Were you able to set this up to where it goes long and short, or can you choose to just be long only?
I don't know specifically. I didn't choose that specifically. The model doesn't seem to have that as a specification, because I was just saying that the profit needs to be 5%. So that could be long or short. But when I'm looking at the examples over here, I'm only seeing long.
Okay, got it. That's good to obviously line up with what's possible in your account. If you have a spot crypto account and it's not margin, you're unlikely to be able to short anyway. So you may only need to, or may only be able to go long in your account. So you'd want to line that up with the strategy here to confirm that it's actually going to perform.
Actually, that makes sense too. If we're inside of the settings over here, we want to make sure that our action is exit, right?
Well, and it was. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I see what you mean. Instead of sell, you can do exit, and that would exit the long, right?
Right. Just to make sure that by accident you're not going short.
Trying to go short anyway.
Right.
Got it.
All right. So that's the idea. I know it's quick and simple, but it's very exciting to be on the verge of this AI thing.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested to see how people I want to see more sharing of the different settings that people have, the models that people are getting, because this is super brand new. I think it came out like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
I saw a grand total of 2 videos about it online. So I get that. And so what I would love is if anyone's interested, me specifically, if you want to share this within the PineScript group on our Discord server, and you tag me in it, I will definitely take a look. I'm very interested to see what we can develop from here. If you have any questions about a certain feature, a certain setting, you can ask. I'm going to see what I can do in order to get that information, because and everybody else in the community, you can answer as well. Because hey, if anybody should be, if this sort of feature appeals to anybody, it's to the Traders Post crew. So let's become experts in this and see how we can fine tune it. Also, the chat for the support for TrendSpider on this seems to be pretty good. They and I believe they do hold. They'll set up like a one-on-one session with you, which I think I should schedule soon for them to walk you through the little bit more the details. And I know John just participated in a webinar a couple of weeks ago where they had a lot more information about it too. So we're gonna see if we can get more details about it, and we'll make more videos about it, because this could be pretty big.
Yeah, I like it. It's definitely a powerful tool, and it includes the kind of toolkit that you would find on platforms on like Quant Connect, or even back in the day Quantopian before that shut down. But you had to know programming to do that kind of thing. You had to import the Python libraries, write out the code, write the logic in order for it to function. I think this is obviously making machine learning much more accessible to the average individual. So I would encourage people to use like ChatGPT to break down these terms and understand, what's the best way to use some of these tools, and what is the meaning of some of the data that comes back. Why should I look at if feature importance is meaningful, which feature should I include, or should I take them out? There's all these questions that will come up as you get a lot of this information back from the model, that I think it's a great opportunity to learn a lot of this stuff on the fly, just by using AI to answer some of those questions.
That's right. I had to toss. I tossed all the documentation, all the information about this, all within O1 ChatGPT. I
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, give me a training program. I need to
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
more about these things. And it was great. Read down the rabbit hole, spent hours learning all about these different models. And I was like, hey, I should be, just like when you mention things to me, I go, hey, maybe I should be learning more about these things and using them in my day to day. But what I would love if this sparks like an arms race, AI arms race within
Mm.
the charting platforms, Bar Chart and TradingView, and all these people come up with their own AI models to be like, hey, okay, we do actually have the data. We didn't know you actually wanted it. Let's go ahead and make it available to you, and maybe you can do all kinds of crazy things.
What I find interesting though is it can take a lot of computational power to run some of these models, depending on how complex the rules are. Good on TrendSpider for deciding to take on that workload of all the server requirements that are going to be in place for this to work.
Yeah, the
Uh,
only limitation I saw was in the I believe the date ranges, the number of candles that you're actually dealing with.
sure, right.
But other than that, I didn't hit on anything that really prevented me from doing anything. It's just that some of the crunching took a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's computationally expensive. Especially if you're on, can you run the model on a 1 minute chart, for example?
I think the 5 minute was the lowest I could have
Was that
gone.
the lowest?
Yeah.
But then how far back can that go? Can that go back a decade, or are you limited to a short period of time?
I only tried to go back far when I was on the daily. I didn't try on the lower one. Let me just do it quickly here. But
Yeah, just kind of curious.
let's see here. Okay, so it can go back on I can go to the 1 minute,
Hmm.
and I can go back to, heck, it's letting me go back to 1998 here
No way.
on the spy.
You can
Yeah.
build a model going back to 1998.
But let me see if it'll restrict my current date. 1 second.
Gotcha.
1998, November 1998 to, come on, give me 2025. No, so it's limited me to 10,000 candles.
Okay, so just like TradingView, you've got a limitation on how far back you can take the backtester, which unfortunately is very inhibiting from a testing perspective, especially if you're going to use a machine learning model, because severely restricts the amount of data that you're actually testing against. If you're only testing against 10,000 bars, that's a fairly small sample of data that you're building a model from. Ideally, you'd want millions of rows of data that would help you confirm that your model is actually close to accurate. So you'd want it to go back several years, many years, over a decade at least, in order to verify the robustness of the strategy and the settings that are associated with it. That said, if you're looking for something quick and dirty and really want to get your hands dirty with a machine learning algorithm, this sounds like a really cool way to do it. I'm going to give it a try. I think we've got a TrendSpider account that I haven't touched in a little while.
What I thought was pretty interesting is that you can toss in just to see what parameters. Maybe it's not giving you great buy and sell signals, but it'll tell you the importance of certain parameters, so that when you do build your
Sure.
own strategy,
Yeah.
you might be like, "Hey, maybe I should take a look at ATR." I wasn't actually paying attention to that.
Yeah. Although the feature importance can be a little bit misleading, it just depends on how you're interpreting that feature importance to the target and what the target actually is. I think from what I could tell there, it looked like they were looking for risk reward as a target on the
Correct.
overall trades that come through.
Yeah.
So that can, if you change those risk reward propositions, it can change the feature importance. So if it turns out one indicator is more important for one type of risk reward versus another, that's, it's going to require sort of ongoing interpretation of what this actually means to you in the context of using that indicator in your own discretionary trading or in a different type of strategy.
Mike, what you just said sounds like work. I was looking to press a button for it to magically decide all this for me. All right, that's what I
I mean,
want.
my bad. Just take the data at face value.
Excellent. All right, so we'll leave it there for today. We'll be back next Thursday on Blueprint for we're going to take a look at tag replacement, a different way of doing the webhook,
Yeah.
or composing the webhook messages. So we know a lot of people are interested in that. We get a lot of support ticket questions about that, so it'll be interesting to go over. So come back next Thursday at 3 o'clock, and we'll have some fun.
Sounds good. This is a good one, Tom. Thank you.
Awesome.